All right, Mr. Richmond here. Welcome to Rearranging Literal Equations, the tutorial. So I've printed out the sheets that you've been working on, unless you haven't been working on them, and then, surprise, these are new to you. So this entire sheet is solving for R, except instead of solving, we're not using any numbers. We're just rearranging the equation so that the equation is R equals. The first thing I'm going to point out is these are not how you would normally see things if I gave you a worksheet. So if we hand wrote them, so I'm going to rewrite everything as I work them, and I'm going to work through a couple, talk you through them so that you have a video to come back to if you need to refresh on this stuff. So our first one, R times S equals T. So if I write that out, RS equals T. Now, what I need to think about when I'm thinking about these literal equations is these things are like a balance, right? So here's this is an art class, just remember that. Here's my balance. And over here, I have something on the balance. And on this side, I also have something on the balance. And the balance is nice and balanced, because that's what balances do. But if all of a sudden I put something else on this side of the balance, if I don't do anything to this side, boom, thing's gonna fall down. This side's gonna go shooting up. So I need to do what I did here over here. Now I've done the same thing. These are still the same. It stays nice and balanced. I have to think about that when I'm doing this. I want to isolate R so that my end equation is R equals something. To do that, right now I'm multiplying by S. To get rid of that, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So if I was to do a divide by S, it's going to cancel this out. The problem is, I've done something to this side of my balance, but not this side. I've got to do the same thing over here. So I'm going to come in, I'm going to divide by S. That gets me to R equals T over S. I'm done. That's it. I've moved this around so I have R equals. Okay? Let's look at the second one. This one down here. Again, this looks funny to me. It's not how I would expect to see it. So when I look at this, I'm going to come in and say R over M equals W. Now, I'm thinking about my balance. I want to isolate R, get it alone, remove the M from this side so that I can solve for just R later on in a full problem. So right now I'm dividing. The difference, up here I was multiplying, down here I'm dividing. So the opposite of division, multiply. So I'm going to multiply this whole thing by M to cancel it out. Balance, got to do the same thing. Did this over here, I better do the same thing over here. So R equals W times M. I'm done. I did it. Okay? Now, there's some weird ones. This one over here, for example. Let's work through that one. A equals Q over R. Now, if there's one thing that I learned in math class, it's that I don't like fractions. There's a fraction. Not only is there a fraction, the problem is the R is on the bottom. Right now, if I tried to get rid of this Q, I'd still have 1 over R. I don't want that. I just want R. To make our life easier, whenever you see something that we want to solve for in the bottom, get rid of it. Make this whole thing a nice flat linear equation, okay? To pull this R out from underneath, the only option I have, the only way that I can do that is to multiply by r. But like we learned in the last two, if I do something to this side, got to do it to that side. I got to come over here and also multiply by r. So now I have RA equals Q. Well, it's great, Mr. Richmond, except it's not the answer, and you've given me more steps. I know. But it's going to make your life easier getting there, because now I've eliminated that 1. And now that it's a nice flat line, you already know, reminder, how to get rid of the A. Well, that was an unplanned bell. Since I'm multiplying, I'm going to divide by A. Now, R equals Q over A. We are done. We got there. We did it. Okay? Every one of you can do this stuff. I know you can. I'm going to do one more. It looks funny. We're going to cycle back. I'm going to do this one up here. Okay? This one involves something a little different. It's got a subtraction in there. This is kind of like what we just did, where we have a problem that I don't like. If I just get rid of P, I still have a negative R, and I don't want a negative R. So I'm going to do the same setup. I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to say, if I want to get rid of that negative, let's move the R first. I know it's an extra step, but it's going to make my life easier, because now that I have X and R adding together, R plus X is equal to a positive P. If I want to move this X now, things just got easy, because all I have to do is subtract it. And there we are. R equals P minus X. I'm done. Okay? Now, if you haven't already done them, you got 4 more questions down here. Okay? I'm going to say goodbye, and I want you to work these on your own. So try to get through these, see how it goes. I will post the key later, okay? And you can work through those ones on your own. So you're always trying to end up with an equation that is R equals. All right, I will see you soon. Have a good one.